Good morning, everybody. Mr. President, Ms. Higgins, dear ministers, dear Mary, Ms. Cousin, my colleague Andres, it's really a privilege for me to be here with all of you today. I want to thank the Irish government, but especially Mary Robinson, for having put together this very important event. This is a very clear proof of the very significant role that Ireland plays in international affairs and to the ethical sense that guides its engagement with the world. And I do thank the Government of Ireland for that. As has been said, I'm here in my capacity as a member of the high-level panel that was set up nearly 9 months ago by the Secretary General, Mr. Ban Ki-moon, in order to prepare a report with a set of recommendations with a view to establishing the new agenda for development that will come into force by the end of 2015, which was the date originally established to achieve the Millennium Development Goals. Since our first meeting in September last year, the 27 members of the panel have held 4 plenary meetings, in addition to many exchanges that modern communications technology has allowed us to carry out. Under the chairmanship of President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf of Liberia, of Prime Minister David Cameron of the UK, and President Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono of Indonesia, we have met in New York in September, in London in early November, in Monrovia in February, and in Bali in late March, to put forward and to debate our respective views and proposals for a new development agenda. According to the mandate that was given to us by the Secretary General, this should be bold and realistic, and our panel has not spared any efforts in trying to live up to this simple, but in truth, extremely demanding challenge. The panel is representative of a very wide array of provenances. There is a former head of government and several government ministers, as well as current and former civil servants, diplomats, representatives from civil society, prominent academics, and members of the private sector. Its composition is evenly balanced in terms of region and gender. Our work is supported by the secretariat that was provided by the UN in order to assist in the conduct of our deliberations and in the drafting of our report. And I do want to take this opportunity to praise the work of the members of the secretariat, especially of the lead author for the report, Mr. Homi Karas, and Amina Mohammed, our ex officio members, for their outstanding leadership in this process. Regarding the work of the panel, where are we? First of all, I want to say I am not speaking as a spokesperson for the panel. And my comments represent simply a personal outlook on the present state of our discussions without pretending to formally convey a formal statement for our group. We started our deliberations in London, where it was agreed that our ultimate aim would be to set up a global agenda with global responsibility, and where 22 framing questions were drafted as guidelines for our work. One of the key results of those deliberations was the consensus achieved on making the eradication of poverty a cornerstone of the new agenda. An ambitious goal by all accounts, but one which we believe is within our grasp and, as we have heard this morning, is just unacceptable not to put it on the table very high in the priorities. In this context, of course, the elimination of hunger and malnutrition are central elements. It was also agreed that our report should raise the bar in reference to the level of ambition reflected in the Millennium Development Goals, as well as to focus on quality of outcome, placing human development at the center of the agenda. Quality of education, quality of nutrition, quality of services, quality of infrastructure, quality everywhere. In Monrovia, we continued our discussions towards a single and cohesive post-2015 agenda that brings together economic growth, social inclusion, and environmental protection, peace building and the consolidation of national institutions, as well as a stable financial and an open and fair trade systems were highlighted as necessary conditions for this process. Three elements received particular attention: sustainable growth with equity, wealth creation on the basis of sustainable and transparent management of natural resources, and the need for partnerships, in plural, as the drivers of economic transformation. In Bali, only a few weeks ago, we also agreed on the need for a renewed global partnership, in singular, that enables transformative, people-centered, and planet-sensitive development, one which is realized through equal partnership of all stakeholders based on the principles of equity, sustainability, solidarity, respect for humanity, and shared responsibilities. This was completed by an in-depth discussion on the means of implementation, including issues of finance and governance, both at the national and international level. The new development agenda will only be relevant if it is fully implemented. We are now at a stage in our work that includes in-depth discussions not only of overall aims and principles, but also the selection and precise definition of global goals and national targets and indicators. In order to address the specific condition and needs of each country, a lot of work will need to be undertaken at the national level, where the active involvement of all of you will be crucial. The international organizations also face a challenge to work as a single team towards the fulfillment of this agenda. And I'm very, very happy to hear this morning Ms. Cousin to say their commitment to really work together with other agencies towards this agenda. There, again, the involvement of all non-state actors will be a very important driving force. By the end of May, the panel has to present the set of recommendations to the UN Secretary General. This report will be only one of the many elements that states will take into account in the intergovernmental process to shape the development agenda. You can be sure that the issue of hunger, malnutrition, and food security are areas that have been discussed widely, that they will receive high attention. As Andres has mentioned, there is, of course, still, and this is a very hard job that we have in the next weeks. We need to figure out, to find a good balance between mainstreaming the issues and putting specific goals on each of them. I just want to finally talk about the engagement of civil society and other relevant stakeholders in this process. A very, very wide process of consultation has taken place. I am absolutely convinced that without the involvement of non-state actors, especially of civil society, the new development agenda will just not be relevant. And I'm very, very grateful to Mary and the Robinson Foundation for having put here this conference together. In fact, I will need to leave tomorrow morning because I'm going to Guadalajara in Mexico, where we will have a consultation, a regional consultation, where again, state representatives may participate as observers. again, another forum in order to learn from you, from those who are working on the ground. I am convinced that the post-2015 development agenda has to be people-centered, that it has to include equity and justice and the rights of people as essential principles, and that it should make sustainability a key element of any future development. We will have to work very hard to make sure that the fight against climate change is integrated into this new framework. The message that development can only be sustainable, otherwise it is not development, has to be very, very strong. What is not yet certain is a degree of commitment that governments and societies alike, as well as all organizations, will demonstrate on the ground to implement to really reach these goals. Sound theory will be worthless if it is not completed by resolute practice, and we must count on you, on your help, in order to achieve that. Thank you all very much.